Hey, you guys. Good morning. Coffee is going. All right, so I figured since Preptober is like in full swing, right? We're more than a week in. I've got a lot of prep work to do. I figure everybody does. I just did a workshop this past weekend talking about the art of storytelling and a bunch of story structures and how to how to plot stories. Yeah, I need more coffee apparently today, but got a lot of stuff to work on. So I figured, why not work on stuff with everyone instead of just doing everything by ourselves? So I've got a stack of things to work on. Yeah, so let's get this day started. Good morning, everyone. I hope everyone's doing okay. Let me know what time frame you guys are in. It's 9 o'clock in the morning, my time. That's where I'm at. I'm in Texas. So when I say good morning and howdy, it's just, part of my normal vernacular. But yeah, like tell me about your projects. Let's see what everybody's working on. All right. So we've got, yeah, I have a lot of stuff to get done today too. Central Time, sweet. It's 10 year. All right. More coffee. Good morning, Ed. All right. All right, I'm going to assume, you're going to have to explain how to pronounce y'all's names because I don't want to butcher these. Is it Ginny? Is it? Okay. Ooh, Supernatural Horror Vela Project. What? That sounds amazing. Oh, the planning that has to go into that. That's always what I first think of. It's all the planning that has to go into things like that. Okay, it is Ginny. All right, sweet. I don't want to pronounce things incorrectly. I know it's frustrating. All right. I like to make a codex. So I have a ton of stuff. I'm also that kind of person who has like so many writing resources, right? Like I have printouts for everything that I work on, and then I put it all together in a codex. So to me, that just makes things make sense in my head. I don't know. Am I the only one? I don't know. I kind of feel like I would rather have way more notes than needed than not enough. Like I have been in the position before where like I have a plot rolling and everything's going fine, and then suddenly I sit down and I realize that I need like a major character that I have not planned for, and all of a sudden I'm taking out like random scraps of paper to create a character out of nowhere. And I was like, this should have been done. All right, Jenny is working on editing book 2 and outlining book 3. Sweet. I love a good series, you guys. Oh, nice. All right, awesome. And outlining. I love outlining. All right, so I've got like a stack of character profiles here that I need to fill out. I usually just kind of print out 10 just to kind of start with. And then I have like my old codexes staring me in the face. So I have like nothing ready for this. And I'm like kicking myself. So if you've ever read anything from like the Lady Janies, they have My Plain Jane, My Lady Jane, My Contrary Mary, My Imaginary Mary. They kind of like screw up history and change it and then make it kind of fun, and then they break the fourth wall. But they utilize characters and stories from the past. And so I'm doing that this year, and I'm going to do it with The Secret Garden because that's what I think they should have done for My Contrary Mary, but they didn't. So I'm going to fix it, right? I'm going to fix Secret Garden to go from like a comfy, cozy, nostalgic children's story to being like, what did I just read? I'm sorry. The paintings are children who what? So I think that'll be exciting. It'll be fun. Episodes 89 through 120. What? I'm so excited. Y'all, I love all these cool projects. All right, let's see. Yeah, Ed wants to know if they're episodes of a TV show or serial fiction or what? A Vela. Sako says Vela. All right. All right. So we've got stuff going. Let's see. Ooh. My resource notebook, my writing resource notebook, like literally like the 12 archetypes. And then I just glue that stuff in there. So it makes it easier to find. And then all the tabs alone were for plot structures that I discussed yesterday at the workshop. That's just plot structures. Like the beat sheet, Blake Snyder's beat sheet. I've got the hero's journey, the 3-act story structure where percentage-wise it tells you what to be at. Classic story arc. Another beat sheet thing from Save the Cat Writes a Novel. And then the story coaster, which is just funny. You know, this is it's just humorous. It's all the things that happen where you get stuck in a story. Like, because that's fun too. Oh, yeah, I can never have enough things here. All right. I know, it seems like a lot. Otis, stop. I also have 11 pets. I have 11 pets, a kid, a husband. It's insanity. I have dogs outside right now that people need to let in that they have not let in. All right, I'm going to mute myself and yell at a kid. All right. No shortage of craziness. You wonder why I drink so much coffee. Actually, Ed, I have 4 snakes. 4 snakes in the house. Bradley, the blue-eyed Lucy that I often take pictures with, the white one, that is Bradley. He is my personal snake, and he is here in the office with me. He's behind my screen on the other side. Okay. I'm going to work on some character profiles. Ew, I actually need to work on a plot embryo. If you haven't heard of plot embryos, they're actually really cool. My friend Maria drew this up for me so you guys can see. So it kind of like breaks apart the world of order, the world of chaos, Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, ignorance versus enlightenment, all this kind of stuff. So like you break down the plot as it kind of works around, and so you can kind of see those almost like bullet points where you need to be at the story at different times, you know, where like you need to move forward kind of differently each time. You know what, actually, let me, so, and I'm going to be talking about this again on Wednesday. So Wednesday evenings, I've got live write-ins where I will be discussing the stuff that we talked about at the workshop the weekend prior. But like this is my plot embryo thing for a story that I wrote. So you can see like each section I've got stuff. So I think I used the beat sheet, actually, the 15-point beat sheet, because it's got like opening image, setup, catalyst, debate, break into 2, B story. So I kind of segmented it out how I needed it. And then any extra notes that I had that needed to be included in those sections, I just added with Post-it notes. So that way I made sure that I had all the other information. And then like this weekend, Maria is going to be talking about the developmental scene cards that we made together, because we made master scene card. And then, but there's also a scene beat sheet that she created that is amazing. So in a bunch of these things, like the documents that you can write on, I'm going to be loading up onto my Patreon, Funky Like Feathers, for free downloads. So like, because we already talked about the character profiles last weekend, those are already for free on my Patreon. So like you can go, you don't have to pay to get access to it. You can just download the pages that I use so that you guys can use them too. So anything that's a writing resource like that, like they're going to be posted for free for everyone to use, because yeah. But this scene beat sheet is super handy to break down each individual scene. And then there's like notes to keep track of, because I'm sorry, but even if somebody is writing a scene and like they don't know what the weather is, that affects the scene. Okay, like I need to know, is there a smell? That is often like the number one thing that everybody forgets in scenes is the smell, except for if you are talking about a love interest. Suddenly, if somebody mentions a love interest, we know exactly what that person smells like. I don't know why, but that's like the only time somebody mentions smell. Something's cooking or the love interest has a certain smell. It's just random, y'all. Random. All right. So, yes, character profiles. Plot embryos. I need pages I took yesterday. Telling you, I'm losing my mind. Character profiles. Oh, here. Where am I pigeon? There we go. Printed one without all the labels. I need to print one without all the labels. Okay. Do you guys keep a, like, do y'all like have folders on your computer that has a bunch of writing resources in it? I would like to know. And what is the, you know what? Okay. What is the #1 writing resource that you find yourself using? I would like to know that too. Seriously, I do have a folder of just writing resources. I have a few of them because that's what it is. Plot Embryo blank. That's what I'm printing. Here, I'm printing a blank Plot Embryo, and that's one of the things that I'll be. What? All right, what am I asking? So writing resources like, okay, so like character profiles that get printed out, or plot embryos, or scene cards, like, because these are things that kind of go into my codex. My codex is my binder of all the back information that goes, you know, all the behind the scenes stuff for the story, right? So all the planning, everything, like, yeah, it all gets written up. So like one year, this was my codex. My kid drew a picture for the cover. That was me. So she drew that, and then inside I have tabs. I'm not even kidding you. Like, there's my checklist for prep. Okay, and then I went into like plot embryo stuff and scene cards. See, like, and I print all this stuff up, right? So like, what's your favorite resource to use? Like, what do you find yourself utilizing more? Is it like character profiles that you like to use, or do you print out stuff about like the emotion chart, right? I think a lot of people thought that that was kind of crazy that I printed out an emotional chart. So emotions, right? The emotion wheel. Do you reference that a lot? Do you reference a page that specifically talks about like words to not use? So I'm kidding. Touchy-feely words, right? I've got tons of stuff in here. I reference these all the time. How to write a scene, adverb, like active verb cheat sheet. I check all the, and okay, so I'm also, my day job is I'm a freelance editor. Okay, so I check a lot of this stuff as I'm going through different manuscripts, right? So 57 senses to use in your writing. Y'all, there are more than just the 5 senses. 57 senses, okay? Like, you can sense like how much time has passed. Nobody thinks about these things. You can kind of sense like how close somebody is to you. That's not something people usually talk about. All right, let's go. I'm using Eva DeVrel's one-page novel system. All right, sweet. That's really cool. Action worksheets for your second act. I like that. See, that's the kind of stuff I'm asking about. Like, what kind of resources do you use? Because I print out stuff because it just helps me get things out of my head. So I'm gonna go grab this blank embryo off my printer, and then I'll be, it's like right there. I swear, it's right there. See, I'm back. All right, so this is what I printed. This is the blank plot embryo. This is what I'm gonna be filling out. Yeah. Yeah, and see, then there's one with labels on it, and then it tells me what is supposed to be going on at the time. So that's what we're gonna. I don't need that folder. Yeah, the first time I started doing codex, I thought this was substantial enough to hold on my stuff. It was not, and I printed stuff, and then I ended up having to print out other pages and then cutting them and gluing them in here just to make sure that I had more information. So yeah, that did not work. I learned very quickly, just get a binder. All right. So in the one-page novel thing, she has you write the sections of the book out of order. See, and I get that too. Yeah, start with the ending. So we were talking about this yesterday as well. Somebody thought that they had to write a book chronologically, and I broke it to them that you don't have to write it chronologically, because oftentimes that's not how your head works, or you're more intrigued or motivated to write a certain scene at a time. So you can just write that scene, get it out of your head, make it amazing, and then, you know, rearrange your stuff later. And yeah, just writing chronologically, man, that's difficult. That's hard. This one. No, this one. Oh, wait. Yeah, so I utilized Post-it notes at one point to break up like the different parts of the plot. And so on the big pink Post-it note, I would say what was happening. This Post-it note told me what beat I was at. This one was random notes that I needed to make sure to include in the scene. And then this one tells me the characters involved. And I just went through. So there was the setup, and then there's the catalyst that happens, and then the debate. But just to like chunk out the information. And then I could rearrange it as I needed to. So that worked out well. But yeah. Okay. So, all right, I'm going to work on some character profiles. Got the beat sheet that goes with the plot embryo to break down. Okay. Okay. See if I can find some information. Post-it thing electronic. Yeah. Okay. So you do a post-it thing electronically via a Chrome extension. Canva has one now. So that would be fun to experiment with. Yeah. And see, like, okay, so I really like Scrivener too. But I primarily only use Scrivener when I'm on my iPad that has I put a keyboard thing on my iPad so that way it's portable, so I can take it to all the write-ins. And I do actually have Scrivener on my computer as well, and they're synced through my Dropbox and everything. But I'm that kind of person who likes stuff on paper. So like I have to like handwrite and then rearrange in hard copy before I start to just kind of go through it. I don't do a lot of planning electronically. I pretty much plot by hand, and then then I'll type it up, right? Yes, there's an app. There's a Scrivener app for the iPad, so you can get it on your iPad. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. You can even put the app on your phone. I mean, you can type from your phone. I'm not kidding, y'all. Yes, Scrivener has an app for Apple products. Yes, they do. See if I can find. Oh. Okay. Yes. Okay. All right. Time to start planning. All right, Jenny, okay, so yeah, so it's $20 for the app. Here's the thing though. So I started using Scrivener. I literally, so they had like a 30-day free trial period, right? And NaNoWriMo had where if you won Nano, that you got a discount on the actual version of Scrivener. So I one year decided that on the first day of Nano, I signed up for the trial period. So I had those 30 days to utilize it for my Nano project. Then I won Nano, and then I went ahead and utilized that discount code to buy the Scrivener program at a discount. And so that's when I finally was like, okay, I'm definitely using this. And instead of having to take my laptop everywhere, I decided I would get it put onto my iPad. And so then I went ahead and did that, right? Jenny says she does the same. She handwrites everything first, then puts it on Scrivener when she's ready. Yeah. Okay, so personally, I have to say that it was worth it for me to spend the $20 on the app just because I utilized it so much. And especially being able to, take my codex with me anywhere and start writing made it a lot easier. Every time I went to a write-in, I just had my codex and my iPad and I was good to go. But again, if you use something like Google Docs or something like that's something you can access from everywhere as well. It's that reorganizing thing and being able to add different subsections and yeah, I mean, so, and then if we did just kind of a random prompt or I worked on something else, I could easily come up with just something else to write there and create another part of it. You might be able to use the same code for Mac. I don't know if it's I don't remember. It's just been that long. This is my 5th year doing Nano. So I don't remember if it was the same code for the computer versus the iPad. I don't remember. I don't have an answer for that. Yeah. So I'm looking. So luckily for The Secret Garden, there are references like of who the cast was. I'm trying to see who I need to make character profiles for. And it is weird seeing some of these people from like the 90s version of the movie. The dude who played Colin is like obviously still Colin. It's so funny. Oh no. Okay. Tell me if I'm saying your name correctly. Is it Sako? Is it Seiko? I don't want to say it incorrectly. You lost 3 books working in Scrivener and the hard drive and the backup died simultaneously? You've been writing in Google Docs since. Oh, no. Okay, Sako. Got it. Dude. That's so okay, so like I said, I save all my stuff. I save everything to Dropbox. So which is like in a cloud or whatever. So it's not in a hard drive. So my hard drive it will nothing. Oh God, I bet it hurts so much. That's when like you sit down and just cry. Just you allow the tears to come because oh my God. Ed, Google Docs myself. I'm a pantser and Scrivener makes my fingers itch. I know. I know there's a lot of organizing that happens in Scrivener. I have to say though, the one day I'm thinking about getting a mechanical keyboard for this year just because I guess I slapped the keys or something. Okay, back in my day when we learned how to type, you literally like, and our keyboards were all mechanical back then, right? So like you had to push up and down. This mess, where's the rest of it? I didn't get it. So I did a 10K in a day a couple of times and my fingers were swollen and pink and tender because I had been hitting the keys so hard. So I'm considering getting a mechanical keyboard just so I can actually type and not hurt myself. Because even on my iPad, the keyboard is really low profile like that. So just, and that's just, it's not the same. Okay, so Sako, you got an extra space for drive. might back up Scrivener there this year. I would back it up like everywhere. Back it up everywhere. And you're on a mechanical keyboard for that same reason. Yeah, I tell you what, it's weird because I don't even know if kids have keyboarding class anymore. We used to have it back in my day, like, but long time ago. Yes, and all of the keyboards were mechanical. So when you suddenly start working on something that is smaller, just physically, it's not as, long. You don't have the extended thing, but it is like super flat, y'all. And if you don't work on Apple products, you may not have a keyboard like this, but this is, I think all keyboards are kind of moving to this, which is really frustrating. You had a keyboarding class. Okay, good. Yeah, it's just all the kids just kind of start typing when they're young now. Everybody has a key. My kid has a laptop. She's had a laptop for a couple of years. It's weird. Yes, Ed, I did a 10K in a day. I even recorded it. There's actually a video on my YouTube channel about the first 10K in a day that I did. I think I've got 2 of them posted actually. Yeah, they're not easy. I can type usually about 1,000 words an hour, more than that if I'm really on a roll. Yeah, and so it's a lot. There's actually a group on Facebook called 10K in a day, and you can earn stickers. It's the little things in life, okay? Yes, you can earn stickers for writing 10K in a day through that Facebook page. There's a writer who runs that page called Lara Parrish. She has a YouTube channel called The Courtney Project, and she writes full time as part of an author set. And yeah, she does this 10K in a day Facebook page. It's awesome. They just announced the new stickers for this month, actually. So they have a sticker for a 10K in a day, and then they also have a sticker for 50K in a month. If you win Nano, you can definitely get the 50K in a month sticker, and they're always like coffee related. They're so cute. So yeah, I might have some in here actually. What's up? Because this is where I would stash them, but it's been a while. Oh, I'm probably not going to find them. They're somewhere in here, but yeah, there's some really cute stickers that you can get. Oh, Zaka, you had to explain what the home row was. Oh, man. Yeah, yes, the Courtney Project on Facebook. Yes, see, Saku knows who I'm talking about. Yes, the Courtney Project. She is very cool. She's actually local to Texas. She lives more towards the coastal region. But yeah, she writes full time. She's, like I said, part of a pair of writers who write several books a year. So she's constantly cranking stuff out. So 10K in a day is pretty awesome. So yeah, and it's not super easy, but it is doable. It is doable. So it is very cool that way. All right. I'm staring at these character profiles. They're staring me in the face. I got to start writing down which characters I need. Make a list of all the characters that I need. He asked why there were dots on the F and J keys. I love it. I love that innocence, though. That is good. It's good that he was willing to ask the question, though. I mean, let's give the man some props for that. It's difficult when people are like, this has always been here, but I never wondered. Now you know. Okay, I'm going to start writing a list of all the characters I need, so I know which character profiles I need to make. So here we go. All right. Yeah. All right, here we go. Should I set a timer? Should I set a timer for how long I'm willing to focus on something? For the fun of it, let's see. All right. What do you think? 15 minutes? Let's set a timer for 15 minutes, okay? Just do a sprint for... So I kind of switch between chatty and sprinting. So right now we're going to do 15 minutes of just focusing. I know I like the chatty things too. And seriously, the live write-in that I did this past Wednesday, I chatted for most of it. And I think I only did 2 sprints to work on stuff. But that's why I need to work on stuff now. So like I said, I kind of switch between the two because I like chatting with you guys. It's fun. All right, 15 minutes on the clock. Let's focus on working on some of our projects, and then after 15 minutes, goodness knows we'll have more stuff to talk about. So 15 minutes, go. We have about 3.5 minutes left. All right, that's the timer. Okay. All right. What did you guys work on? What were you able to get done? I worked on character profiles for some of these people in Secret Garden. So I was able to, because it's a movie, apparently twice over. I'm sorry. There's nothing quite like the original. Don't give me Secret Garden 2020. Y'all crazy. 1993. That was the movie. I don't know why you would use any other. So yeah. Luckily there are already like character lists, and like those are kind of the characters that I'm using is those actors that we had in the 93 version of the movie. So I need to pull pictures of them to put onto their character profiles. And of course I'm basing it on that story, but I'm making it completely different. Jenny planned out my week and journaled, so we'll be getting to my book next round. Sweet. Love it. Yeah, so this morning I went ahead and did my whole morning routine thing. So I totally feel you there. Like, it's important to plan out the week. That's exactly what plotting is. It's all just planning. Ed, a chapter I'm working on, 483 words, knocked out in sprint, trying to nail a banter between two very powerful women. May the force be with you, young man. No, that is a tough conversation to deal with. Two powerful women having a banter back and forth. That should be an interesting conversation. That is awesome. Yeah, it's, I tell you what, so like, especially planning everything in advance, it's so imperative when it comes. So, and you don't have to, plot everything. So, no hate, Ed, love you. But like having those kinds of routines in place, knowing that you're going to be working on something, or at least like, having time scheduled in saying, hey, I want to work on stuff at this time, just so that you know that you're going to be in that mental space, right? Like, and again, like, I like planning and plotting everything out so that when I sit down to write, it just happens. And even I was talking to someone yesterday at the workshop, and she mentioned how she, doesn't want to kind of write a scene and then have to do a complete rewrite, because she doesn't, if she's already written, she's like, all right, there's 1,000 things I could be changing. She's like, do I really want to change all of these things? Or, should I just change a couple of little things and everything? And so we were kind of discussing, expanding upon the ideas as you're plotting stuff out. So, if you start a story just with bullet points of just the most basic of ideas, like the absolute, like the simplest that a story can get, that even a 5-year-old can tell you. The story will have 4 parts. Okay. The first 3 parts, everybody already knows. The 3 main parts of a story: the beginning, the middle, and the end. Simple. Okay. There's one thing that we throw in there that makes the story worthwhile, and that is the climax, right? So there's 4 parts of that story: beginning, middle, end, and you've got a climax in there. And so that's all you need to make a legit story. And then you start expanding on the idea. Well, who are the characters that we're going to be utilizing? What's happening in these 4 points? Why is it happening? And how did it happen? Right? I mean, like, that's it. That's a story. So if you slowly expand upon that, and who's it? Abby Emmons. If you don't know who Abby Emmons is, she's on YouTube as well. She has a series called Writer's Life Wednesdays. And every single Wednesday, she gets on and does a YouTube specifically about something writing related. And she, talks about all of these different aspects. But she herself, when it came to planning 100 Days of Sunlight was her book, 100 Days of Sunlight. The outline for that thing was 60,000 words. The outline. 60,000 words. So is it possible to overplan? I don't know. That depends on the writer, right? But I mean, if everything that you put in there, and then, you tell yourself, okay, here's the things I want included in this. And then you just finally take all those notes and push out that whole scene. I mean, as long as the scene works properly, my whole reason that I plan and plot and everything is to minimize the editing process, right? Like, as an editor, there are sometimes we can tell that you must have been writing for a nano because you're using 5 small words when 1 regular word will work. And so it's like, was this a nano project? This was a nano project. Why are you using so many words? So by kind of planning it out beforehand, and then when you sit down to write the scene, it flows because you have your plan, right? I mean, like, you have like the map of how you want this scene to work. So even, like I said, this weekend, it's Sunday right now. Saturday, when Saturday happens and Maria talks about developmental scene cards, those again are kind of road maps of how your story is going to get to where you want it to go, right? And that's what we want to see, is that way you know where your story is going to go, and your characters don't go off on little random side tangents, and it makes it so you don't have to delete scenes later because you know that the scenes you put into the story had a purpose for being there, right? One of the biggest things I had to learn is that sometimes you have to write a scene just so that it's out of your system, and then you can go ahead and move it somewhere else, out of your manuscript, so that you don't lose that scene or that idea or that concept. But it may not be needed for that manuscript, and that's a very difficult thing for writers to do, is take out chunks or do a total rewrite, right? Ed said setting down the scenes is good and helps get the project moving. It really does, right? And that's kind of what we talked about, like that quilt style of writing. You don't have to write chronologically. You don't have to start on page 1, opening scene, here we go. And a lot of writers don't. And that's because they have the idea in their head and you're really excited to write this really pivotal scene, right? And so just write that scene. If that's the one that you're in the mood to write, or that's the one that you feel like writing, get that one done because you've got all the ideas at that moment. And then you can tie everything together when you do your first reread, right? Like you can go ahead and see what's missing and rearrange stuff so that it flows better. That works nicely, right? Jay says, my outlines usually end up being anywhere between 25 and 35K, but I'm an underwriter. See, it's just, I'm telling you, like, outlines can be as long or short as you need. It is up to you. Like, and that's one thing even for Nano. I know a lot of people freak out about the whole 50K thing, but honestly, you don't have to have 50K as your goal. Shocking, I know, but you can actually set up your own goal on Nano. On the website, you can set up a goal and it doesn't have to be 50K. Case you were wondering. So the main thing for me with Nano, the whole goal is to make writing a habit. Okay, so if that means that I'm going to be writing every single day, great. If that means that I'm getting 2,000 words a day, awesome. If that means that, like 1 year I edited a project from years past. So I was working on a round of edits, right? It's just making it part of the consistent schedule that's important, and working on a goal and staying focused on that goal, because there's 1,000 other things you could be doing during the November month, right? And actually, I'm going to be making a new video this week specifically about tips for NaNoWriMo, what I've learned over the past few years, because this is my 5th year. So I'm going to make a video about ways to make Nano simpler and make it work. Like I said, I've got 11 pets. I have a kid. I have a regular job. I don't have a job in the sense that I go to an office. There's that caveat. I don't go to an office, but I do work from home, which a lot of us do now, right? So I think that's important too. But yeah, there's 1,000 things that I do during the day, and I still have to find time to add writing a book into the schedule for November. And I think that's crazy. Like, y'all, we do something insane every single year. Give yourself some credit, okay? Like, seriously, give yourself some credit. If you literally wanted just to do the outline for a book for November, you could do that too. Because seriously, if you're writing like 35K for an outline, you could have that as your goal and just be like, I want to, work on creating a complete outline for the story, and maybe, writing the first few chapters. And I'm like, okay, cool. If that's your goal, that's your goal. Like, nobody can tell you what your goal has to be. It's just that the usual for Nano is 50K in 30 days. That's it. But that doesn't have to be your goal. Customize it, y'all. Be surprised how many things you can customize in life, and they don't have to be exactly the same. I feel like everybody forgets that little tidbit. Right? Your story's supposed to be your story. And never, ever, ever think that you can't write a story because somebody else already wrote one like it. They may have written one on a similar theme or similar idea, but the way you're going to write it is different. I wrote a book, my first year of Nano? So 5 years ago, I wrote a book. I just picked up a book this year that has a similar premise. It's like, I love this premise. That's why I wrote one just like it. I would love to read this book because I want to see how they did it, right? Like, I want to see what they did well, what they didn't do well. This is important stuff. So even like people ask me if I really do read the books that are behind me. Yes, I really do read the books behind me. Everything on these shelves, that is my physical books that I've read so far this year. Most of these down here I've read in previous years. But yeah, everything back here is what I've read just this year alone. And that's just physical books. That doesn't include audio and Kindle and stuff like that. But reading to me is just as important as writing. And there's a lot of reasons for that. Because you learn things from different writers, seeing how they accomplish different tasks. Reading The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes this year has been very intriguing because she does not like do a regular character build like what most of us are used to. Like, we don't get to see those characters. We don't get info dumps of any kind. But what you learn about the characters, we've all built characters in our head because we only get small tidbits of any physical descriptions. But as far as how a character will behave or their mannerisms or, what to expect out of them, oh my goodness, we know these characters to a T. And it is amazing to see this happen. It's unlike anything that we've seen so far. And so even talking to teenagers in my classes about it, and we're all sitting there going, yeah, but we know what this character is going to do because we know them, even though we haven't really gotten that character intro. Very intriguing. One of the worst ways to build characters that I've ever seen was in the Uglies series. So that was intriguing. You ask any of us what that character looked like, none of us had any ideas. We didn't even know what the character was wearing. It was very frustrating. Very frustrating. So, seeing how writers do different things, and that's one of the reasons, and I'll go ahead and let you on it. That's one of the reasons I started even my online book club, because a lot of times writers don't do enough reading, and that's kind of frustrating. You really will learn a lot by reading different things, especially things out of your comfort zone, things that are books that you would not normally pick up, right? So, I mean, that's why all of us do these things. So like my online book club, we meet once a month, last Wednesday of the month, on a Zoom call. So everybody actually gets to like see everybody and interact and everything. It's called Book Nerd University is my book club. And I've got it listed on my Patreon. It's a lot of fun. So we're reading Small Town Big Magic this month. And again, it's like a cozy contemporary book that normally most of us wouldn't pick up. But it's going to be interesting to be able to discuss this stuff. And I, make notes on little Post-it notes and put it in the book of stuff that I see and notice. And all of us discuss things and compare it to projects that we're working on or things that we've read in other stories. And like, even if you're a writer and like, you just want help on certain projects, just, a little bit of like, hey, does this sound good? Is this going well? I even have a thing on my Patreon just for writers. And it's Writers Who Lunch, so that every single month you can get a one-on-one with me where I read over some of your stuff and you get one-on-one feedback from a freelance editor. Easy peasy. $10 a month. It's very simple. Like, it's not super expensive. And we just kind of sit there and talk for an hour about your work and what it looks like and how it's going and what we can do to, make it better and all that jazz, right? I mean, it's awesome having writing community, because y'all, you are not alone. You are not just a little hermit in a hole click-clacking in the corner to write your book. There are way more of y'all out there than you realize. If everybody knew how many writers there were out there, it would be a whole new world, okay? Trust me. It's insane, the fact that you think you're alone. No, you are not. What was it? Last year, we couldn't do in-person meetups for NaNoWriMo. The year before, we couldn't do in-person meetups for NaNoWriMo. So even when it came for goodie bags and stuff, I drove around town and dropped those off by hand, because I was like, you need to know I'm real. You need to know that we're all human here and that we're not just bots on the other side of a computer. Like, it got really rough not being able to have in-person meetups for NaNoWriMo. That was really just really frustrating. This year, I've got meetings every single weekday for Nano, including online meetups Monday and Wednesday. So if you are doing Nano this year, Monday evenings, Wednesday evenings, I will be on YouTube live doing live write-ins so that everybody near and far has somebody to meet up with, right? So those are already listed on my YouTube channel as well. So all the things are there. If you want to see what the schedule is, it's all listed. You're good to go. But yeah, tons of stuff this year. I love it. Okay. So speaking of planning, the apparently there are people who have not like posted calendars and everything for November, and they're still like planning for November. I don't understand the concept. Y'all, I've been planning for Nano since like the summer. So the calendar is fully done. I had to list all of those events. That was a lot of fun, listing everything out. But yeah, all of that has been planned for months. So some people are still putting together calendars and ideas for events in November. We're done over here. So you can put in your calendar and be ready to go, because that's just, yeah, I don't know if it's just, I don't know why I have to plan that far in advance, but I like knowing that it's done. So that when Nano comes, you know, and even with Preptober, I mean, like everything's been planned for months. And then that way I don't have to worry about anything besides just showing up. It's already on the calendar. I just show up for it. That's where I'm at, right? So I'm thinking for this secret garden thing, thinking about making it so that the paintings of all the children in the house, because it's a very large manor that these people live in, and there's tons of bedrooms. There's like 500 bedrooms or something, like something totally unnecessary. But there's like very large portrait paintings of children. So my idea was to take these paintings of children and make it so that these are all the dead children that have been buried in the secret garden. And that like Archibald, the crazy old guy with the big hunch in his back, he's the one who killed all these children. And he's lived, you know, on their life force for so long, kind of thing. Like, that's kind of where my head's going. I just thought there was so many random things that were mentioned in this book that needed to be pointed out. And Dickon in this movie, I'm sorry, I might have to change his name because I'm not mature enough for this. Is it just me? Am I just that much of a teenage boy? I just can't, y'all. I just can't. The kid's name is Dickon. And then we get phrases like, I like Dickon, and I've never seen him. Yeah. And that's right across a page with the word vixen on it, which just makes me laugh. We have a lot of stuff in here about Dickon and the fact that he's pretty much like a fairy. I know nobody wants to consider this, and it's probably been forever since you've read or seen The Secret Garden, but there's a lot of stuff in here that makes Dickon seem like he is magical. Okay, and like things grow magically, things come to life, all the animals love him. Like, if he's not a witch of some kind, he's definitely some kind of woodland fairy. Yeah, it just, everything I've got here, I'm just like, he's got to be magical. But I might have to change his name because I'm just not mature enough for it. I know that's a terrible thing to say, but it's just true. It's just true. But if an angel did come to Yorkshire and live in the moor, if there was a Yorkshire angel, I believe he'd understand the green things and know how to make them grow, and he would know how to talk to the wild creatures as Dickon does, and they'd know he was friends for sure. How is he not just told that it's, yeah, like, okay. So they're talking about like how to make Colin healthy and to like live forever kind of thing. And Mary tells Colin, lie on your back and draw in long breaths of air. That's what Dickon does when he's lying on the moor. He says he feels it in his veins and it makes him strong, and he feels as if he could live forever and ever. Breathe it and breathe it. I'm telling you, this kid's going to live forever. His fox and his crow and his squirrels and his lamb were so near to him and his friendliness that they seemed almost to be part of himself. There's a lot in classic children's literature that most people don't realize is there. Like, if you've never read The Wizard of Oz, you've only watched it, you may not realize just how violent that story is. It's really violent, okay? Like, and this one, I'm telling you, if you read it, dude, if you read this at night, like with the lights turned off and you've got nothing but like a candle, you could read this and it would be a scary story. And it needs to be a scary story. There needs to be like this darkness to it. They talk about magic. Literally, are you making magic? That's doing magic thyself. It's same magic has made these here work out of the earth, and he touched with his thick boot a clump of crocuses in the grass. There is magic. There's magic. Yep. She was saying it to Colin because she wanted to make the magic and keep him on his feet looking like that. I'm telling you, nobody talks about magic, and it's all in the book, and it's capital M for magic. It's not lowercase, by the way. It's the capital M for magic. I'm telling you. So yeah, so I want to kind of work on that. I want to build up her uncle to be like the super scary dude. Oh, there was a chapter called The Curtain. It's like Wizard of Oz, The Curtain. Okay, like telling you, there's just so much. So I'm gonna need to work specifically also on building up the setting and the theme, like the tone, not really theme, tone here, tone. So many things. But okay, so with those thoughts, how do I want to break this down? So what I did before is I've got the Save the Cat beat sheet and I have a plot embryo. So you know what? I'll put those while I'm sitting here. I'm going to put those over on Patreon because I can. So let's pull you guys over here. Put that there. Put that down. I'm going to pull these two things. So that was plot embryo blank and okay, Save the Cat beat sheet. Brody. I don't even know why it's called that. All right, I'm going to put some things up on Patreon while we are here because, oh, I need to make, so before I post that, I have to make a little, this, okay. I'm going to save that so that it has a picture on the post. And it is literally just black and white, y'all. There is nothing fancy about this. That down. Okay. Pull the image, and it's just going to say plotting stories. Nothing fancy. Where is it? Okay. Plotting stories. All right, upload. Box. Writing resources. Okay. It's gonna look weird. I don't even know why they're called these things, but plot embryo. Okay. Let's go ahead. All right, I'm gonna put a couple of them. The plot arc structure. It's just whatever makes sense in your head. Like, seriously, that's why I have a bunch of these things on here. It's just so that it makes sense in your head. Okay, because everybody has different ways that things make sense. Okay, tags, NaNoWriMo, NaNoWriMo prep, NaNoWriMo resources, writing resources. Okay, all right, public, publish. Okay, all right. Ta-da, it's live. Okay, so if you go over to my Patreon, like right now, it's there. It is free to access. So I've got the plot embryo, the blank one. I have the one with the labels on it over there. Pull that. I have this one over there as well that tells you all the different sections. I have Save the Cat beat sheet. It is 2 pages of information, in case you're wondering. Then I also put over there the 3-act story timeline. The timeline is the one that actually breaks down like percentage-wise where you are in the story. So like the 1st act timeline, percentage-wise, what should be happening at each point in the story. Okay, that one is colored. But I went ahead and posted those over there. So they're over there to download, get as many copies as you need. I don't care. And then also the plot arc structure. So the roller coaster kind of thing. This is over there as well. So it just has like the primary plot points where it lists things that should be happening at each of those segments of the story. So you'll see plot embryo blank, plot embryo with labels, plot arc structure, save the cat beat sheet. In parentheses, it says Brody. I don't even know what that means. And then it says 3x story timeline. So yeah, everything is a doc. The save the cat beat sheet is a PDF. But everything you should be able to get over there. Like I said, patreon.com, funky like feathers. Go get you some writing resources for plotting. Because like I said, this is all story structure stuff. And so like these two, I like having the labels, but at the same time, I like having it blank. And like I said, like the one that I showed you guys literally had tiny little handwriting everywhere. They work. It's nice. So sometimes you want to see a story, right, and it's organized linearly, and other times it makes sense to have the circle, especially when you, at the top of this circle, you have the opening image and the final image, right? Because I like to make sure that they're mirrored versions of each other. Okay, so like if you open up the scene, or like the whole story, you open up where your character is sad, defeated, bloody, whatever, homeless, sitting outside of this building, and they're down on their luck and just absolutely defeated. At the end of the book, you could have where they're actually opening their shop at that building, where they used to sit outside and be super depressed. Now they're happy and they're opening up, this brand new opportunity. So that's kind of the mirrored stuff that we want to see. I'm going to go into deeper detail on some of this stuff on Wednesday when we have the live write-in, but yeah, these are some of the primary documents that'll help you guys with plotting when it comes to your story. I've got some other stuff that I'll probably post up later this week that's also about plotting. When I say I have a ton of resources, I'm really not kidding. Really not kidding. I have a lot. I also have my Pinterest page for writing open as well. So if you find me on Pinterest, funky like feathers, it's just, it's consistent. You know what to find. I have a writing board that is public that you guys can get a bunch of stuff from there as well. So, because like I said, to me, you can never have too many things. You can never have too many things to choose from. And I know that for some reason, some people will be like, oh, it's, being inundated. And I get that. I totally get being inundated with information and realizing that there's a ton of stuff out there. And like, where do you start? Honestly, whatever looks and seems like the most handy to you, reach for that. Because like I said, a lot of this is redundant information. It's just what format makes sense in your head, because that's the one that you need to go with. Okay, it's that simple. I do type rather quickly. I know that some people like to listen to me type. Another reason I've been looking at a mechanical keyboard, because for some reason people like to hear me typing, which is fine and dandy. So that's often why I don't mute myself if I'm doing a live write-in of some kind and you hear typing. If you don't want to hear it, you can mute it. It's fine. You're not going to offend me in the least. But yeah, apparently people like to hear the click-clicking. So I have more character profiles to work on, but I do have some of this research. All right. I need to do like some brain dumping for this. So I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to open a Word document and I'm going to brain dump ideas and thoughts of what I want to see included in this project. So that's what I'm gonna do. All right. So for this next round of sprinting, let's do another 15 minutes, and I'm gonna work on a brain dump for these ideas. That's what we'll do. All right. Does that sound good? You guys want another 15 minutes of some sprinting here? I'm gonna add a title. What should I call this? I need some kind of title for this, because it's not just the Secret Garden. It's like a spooky version of the Secret Garden, like the Secret Garden. Ooh, the Secret Garden Revisited. Why not? I don't know. It doesn't have the ring to it that I need. Guys, let me know what you're thinking. I don't know what to call it. Like the Secret Garden Revisited. I don't know. I'm not sure. I just don't know. All right, let's see. Yeah, because I need to make it spooky. Kind of creepy. Like dark academia meets thriller. It's kind of like, if you've read Gallant, it's tucked up right there. If you've read Gallant, it has kind of a similar feel, but I want it scarier than Gallant. I want it like people sitting there and being like, did you just write? That's the idea there. All right. So let's do 15 minutes on the clock, and let's do another quick sprint. You guys ready? It's a rhetorical question. Don't worry. Ready, set, go. about 10 minutes. 2 minutes. Yay! All right. Timer's up. Woo! Okay. How'd you guys do? What'd you work on? I want to know. This is awesome. Oh, okay. So I kind of worked on a brain dump for ideas for the plot, and I love it. I'm so excited. Okay. Let's bring that. Just a brain dump. That worked out well. I'm happy with it. I can't. There's something about just being able to like sit down and just let your brain talk its way through the story, and suddenly you're like, ooh, that would work. Ooh, that sounds good. Ooh, I like that. So I'm actually going to combine 2 stories that I should have thought about earlier. I'll show you which other story I'm going. Where is the I have copies everywhere. All right. Different copy of it. I guess I can use this copy. I have several copies of this book because it happens to be one of my favorites. So I'm going to be utilizing Picture of Dorian Gray. You know why? There's a painter in here. Why didn't I think of this earlier? There's a painter in here. I'm going to use the painter of the Picture of Dorian Gray and put it with the Secret Garden. So all of the pictures that are in the rooms in the Secret Garden were painted by the dude in this book. And this dude and Mr. Archibald are going to be in a relationship. There we go. That makes sense. Ah, feel better. Yay. Makes sense now. Okay, so we're going to save that. Save as, see when you're visited. What? Work. Done. All right, let's pull that off the printer. Okay. So this was 888 words. To kind of, so like less than 1,000 words, right? Not bad. Just to kind of brain dump ideas here. And now I've got this all printed out, and I can make markings all over this as I need more notes and everything. That That made things all make sense. I love it when an idea comes together. That was perfect. You guys, amazing, amazing. All right. Oh, it's going well. Okay, so we're accomplishing a lot today. Look at that. Getting a lot of stuff done. I knew it was going to be a good idea. Knew it. Okay. And see, sometimes you just have to do that. You just have to get on and go, I don't know what's happening, but here we go. We're going to make this happen. I have several copies of Dorian Gray. This is one of my pretty copies. It has my favorite colors. I need to find my paperback. One of them, at least. I have 2 copies up there. Where did I put it? Oh. It's stuck behind. Okay. That's why. That's why. It's behind here. Okay. Yep. It's behind there. Okay. So I have a Barnes & Noble version of this book here. Look up here. Hello. Okay. It's back here somewhere. So I'm going to move these things. There it is. Will do. Okay. Okay. See? There it is. That's what we're using. Okay. Move these back. This is my books to read this year. It's my TBR stuff. Okay, so we're using Secret Garden, Picture of Dorian Gray. We're going to put these 2 together. That's what we're doing. Yes, Offspring. Yes. Wonderful. You may. Ask Dad. Yes. Go ask your father. Okay. You have my approval. Love you too. All right. So there we go. See, I told you I had another copy of this. Yes, we're going to use Picture of Dorian Gray. Take the dude from this. Put him into that. Okay. And I was able to figure out how I'm going to make this happen. I was able to figure out what the ending is going to be. I was able to figure out a little bit about the magic system. The power of the brain dump, you guys. Power of the brain dump. Seriously. So awesome. Okay. Yes. All right. I need to get the binder. Need to get a binder together. I think I have one. Okay. So this one, though, this one has stuff set up, but I really didn't use it for everything. Okay. All right, I'm going to take what I have for these characters, pull it out. I'm going to use this binder for my codex for this year. I'll just keep all this stuff together. Okay. That's an idea. There's a lot. I have a whole plot. I have. So Maria, like I said, she made, we made a master scene card together, but she also made a scene beat sheet, which is awesome. Ooh, and then this is something else that I did with my project last year, is that I typed up each of the main beats in the plot, right? So even though I kind of wrote things in general, I also, and I showed you I had the Post-it notes in the notebook that had kind of those chunks of information. What I did was I actually typed up kind of those chunks of information, and then I wrote the time difference, how much time passed between each beat. So that is handy too, because a lot of times readers don't get really notified about how much time has passed, and that's really imperative because it keeps your reader in the story. So that's what I'm doing there. And then, so then also sometimes you do sprints during Nano, and it's not necessarily a scene that you're working at, but it again is another brain dump that you're doing and stuff. So I will just call that sprints. Oftentimes in my Scrivener, I will just call it sprints, and then I put and then it's organized by date of what I did. And then after I write the sprint, I can change the name of that that sprint and just kind of put like a key phrase of things that I talked about. So this is actually a printout of my Scrivener sprints during last Nano that were based on that story, but that are not actual story. It's brain dumping ideas, right? So got master scene cards in here. Okay, all right, cool. So I'm just going to utilize this codex from my new story because I really didn't have, Ed, you'll be so proud of me. I really didn't have much for like printed out and stuff for this project. So there we go. Scene, cool. And then I've got things that we discussed. So exploring conflict. Yeah, here's another thing of sprints. I didn't punch the holes in them. There we go. All right, cool. Cool. So excited. All right, that goes there. Awesome. All right, this is my project from last year. And then this will be my codex for this year. So I've already got a plot going. Beautiful. Okay, so this is where we discuss talking about like taking an idea and then expanding upon it or trying to organize things. So this was just a complete brain dump that I just typed up. So in this last sprint, this is what I typed. Okay, it's 3 pages of plot for the Secret Garden Revisited, right? So what I'm going to do now that I have these, and it's just kind of bullet pointed along the side. I don't know if you guys can see bullet points along the side of things that happen. So I know, okay, this is going to be in there and this is going to be in there. So now I'm going to take these ideas and go over to that plot embryo that we were discussing and put stuff on there so that I know where it is in the flow, right? So now I can take my beat sheet where it breaks down the different things that need to happen and section out my plot embryo with the sections that are on the labels. Again, go to Patreon and download these. They're free over there, okay? And then actually see where I want to put all of this stuff on the plot itself. And make sure that my opening scene is a mirror of my final image. Oh, it's coming together so nicely. So part of the reason that I like using a binder is because you can't move stuff in this codex. Now, this codex actually was created based upon a whole Nano packet that somebody actually created, and it was free to download when I went and got it, which was really cool. But I've tried to go back to that website and get it again, and I haven't been able to find it. So I'll just tell you what it says. It says it's TauriCox.com. TauriCox.com. That's the website that is listed on the bottom of this giant Nano packet that I printed out a couple years ago, and I have not been able to find it since. Luckily, I saved it to my computer because it was a workbook, write your novel in 30 days. Like, I kid you not. That's what I got. That's what went in here. And then I gave myself some blank pages at the end to put in extra references and stuff. And I did. I have printouts of pictures of bedrooms, coffee shops, bookstores, kind of stuff like that, just to kind of reference things that I needed for my story, because I knew I would need some extra stuff, but you need a lot more than that when it comes to, especially when you have like magic systems. And I had multiple shops that were like owned by people with magic, so I needed witches' bells on different doors, and I had to remember which shop had one large bell and which shop had a little collection of small bells, because some of them would tinkle and others would clang, and got to have the sounds right for which store you're walking into and everything. So yeah, having a codex helps me keep those ideas separate and organized so I can find it. Alrighty. Oh, I'm so excited. All right, so now I need to find this dude's name. Cannot remember if it was Basil who did the painting. I want to say no. I want to say his. I never annotated the copy of Dorian Gray. Okay. Lord Henry. Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's what we're going with. All right. So, which means I also need to probably annotate the first chapter of this at least, so that I can kind of get back into that tone. Ooh, you know what? The worlds of these two would just mesh so well. Ah, I love that. Okay. I love when a plan comes together. That worked out a little too well. You guys. All right. So I'm working on those. All right. I have a clear idea of what I'm working on now, which makes me feel a whole lot better. So for recap, what we have coming up this next week, doing a live write-in on Wednesday evening, specifically discussing plot structures and, story arcs and all that kind of stuff. And then next weekend, Saturday, Maria is going to have a workshop in person here locally about developmental scene cards and stuff like that. And so that's what I'll be talking about the following Wednesday. And then this coming Saturday, locally, I will also be doing a writing workshop in person at a store called Buy the Book, B-U-Y, Buy the Book, here in, actually, it's down in the Spring area in Texas. So I'll be there doing a writing workshop. It's going to be 2 hours. We're going to be doing a bunch of writing sprints. I bring a bunch of prompts with me. It's a lot of fun. It's hilarious, some of the things we get out there. But then that way we'll get a lot of words on paper at that one too. But yeah, it'll be great. I've got a lot of online meetings happening this next month as well. So look out for those. Like I said, every Monday and Wednesday in November, I will be here live. And then this month, I'm live on Wednesday evenings. This was just a pop-up for today. I just felt motivated to get something done. And so I decided to just pop on here for the fun of it, you guys. I'm glad y'all were able to join me today. It's been a lot of fun. I've also been making sure to post other stuff on YouTube. I've got Patreon going. So over there, I've got a ton of stuff on Patreon. As the weeks pass, I'll go ahead and start posting more things. Like I said, today I posted the plot structure stuff. So it's free to download over there. You don't have to be a paying patron to get access to those. You can print them out and use them for whatever. I'll be posting different kinds of things throughout the next few weeks. And then especially right before Nano hits, I will be posting a ton of writing references and resources, because in my head, you can never have enough. But that's me. All right. So yeah, I think my coffee's cold, which is a problem. We've got a lot of stuff to do. Let me know what you guys are working on. Like for Nano, are you guys working on different projects for Nano, or are you working on current works in progress? Right? I mean, like, do y'all change it up for November? Do you only write for November? I really don't write the rest of the year. I edit the rest of the year. When Nano hits, that's when I write. Other than that, I just edit, right? So, and read. A lot of reading. Oh my words, the amount of reading. Let's see, so far this year, let's see my book count. I have read 72 books so far this year. And those are like real books. Last year I read well over 100 books, but that's also because I was reading a lot of children's literature for classes that I was teaching. So I feel pretty good about the 72 books so far this year. I'm happy with it. And I'm reading like 10 books this month, so mood reader. Lots of book clubs. Yeah, lots of book clubs. I'm excited about my book club though. Of course I am. Otherwise I wouldn't have made it. Come on now. So yeah, lots of crazy stuff going on. All right, I will go ahead and let you guys go so that you can get back to your regularly scheduled programs. Yeah, I will be back here on Wednesday talking and discussing about plot, how to create plots, how to make sure that you fill in all those holes, and then we'll get some more sprints done on Wednesday. And then next weekend, we'll be talking about scene cards, and then I will come on here and talk about scene cards and have them available on my Patreon as well. So make sure that you're kind of keeping an eye on that Patreon because, like I said, I will have tons of free downloads for you guys so you can print it out and use them for your projects. All right. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. I'm going to go get some lunch because it's lunchtime now. All right. Bye, you guys. I'll see y'all soon.